Sooner or later there will be a new Smash Bros. Game coming, and when that does happen, the current roster that we have is definitely going to be cut down in half. Is this true? Probably not, but that is my anticipation that's going to happen. And if it does happen, I'm already a step ahead. And just to make sure I'm a step ahead, I am here in Tier List Maker, and I'm going to organize all these characters based on the likelihood of them being in the next Smash Bros. The only rules that I'm going to put on this is that we cannot have any third-party characters, as there's a whole licensing issue with Nintendo. There has to be at least one character per franchise. There could be no brand new characters, and I am not going to be playing any favorites. We are strictly going off of the characters that are in Ultimate, and the ones that make the most sense if we're going to have to cut out other characters. All the characters here are already organized in an alphabetical order, for the most part, and then you got like DLC hiding on the bottom here. But if I had to like just take like a quick glance through, we have to cut out Cloud because Cloud is Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is not Nintendo. Oh, there's Joker. Sorry. Sonic. Bye. Snake. Bye. Simon. Bye. There's going to be a lot of these third parties that we're going to instantly kick out. Bowser is a very safe guess to say that he will be staying just because he's like a staple Mario character. Bowser Jr., very debatable. He is one of the newer characters added to Smash Bros., which kind of gives him a little bit of a bump up on staying, but it's a toss-up. Captain Falcon, he is the solo rep for F-Zero, so he has to stay. Charizard, we're not going to keep, and the only reason why is because we have Pokemon Trainer, who is for sure staying. If any character from the Pokemon franchise is going to stay other than Pikachu, which I will be adding now, it has to be Pokemon Trainer, and that's simply because Pokemon Trainer has like the whole gimmick of having 3 Pokemon, and it's representing like the starters for any Pokemon game, and how they can evolve and things like that. Pokemon Trainer is a staple, has to stay. Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, they will both be staying, but not in the way you think so, and there's a reason I have this tier list. Because Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, I would like to see them reworked to work together, similar to how Ice Climbers fight together, where you could lose the second character. More like in the Donkey Kong Country games, because in Donkey Kong Country, if you take too much damage when you have Diddy Kong, you lose Diddy Kong, and then it's just Donkey Kong. So if we can have a moveset that reflects the two of them together, like in Donkey Kong Country, rather than in Ultimate, where Donkey Kong is just kind of like the brainless, muscular guy, and Diddy Kong is just a zoner, I think it'd be really cool to see them being reworked. When it comes to the Star Fox series, Fox absolutely has to stay. He is the face of the series. Falco is debatable. If we need another character we can pull, and again, that kind of goes with the same deal for Wolf. Greninja, I'm going to have to say he's going to go. He's the first non-third party I'm going to have to say has to go, and that's simply because as cool as he is as a Pokemon, there are other Pokemon in this game that are much more deserving of staying in the next Smash Bros. Ice Climbers have to stay. They're a solo rep. Same with Inkling. Let's kind of like look through here, get some solo reps, you know? Ike is going to be another debatable one because even though he is Fire Emblem and he is kind of basic as a swordy, he is the only heavy Fire Emblem character, so we'll keep him here for now. Incineroar is going to be another debatable Pokemon because he is one of the more unique Pokemon, but there are others that are better. Jigglypuff, as much as I hate to say it, I think is going to have to stay, and that's mostly just because of 64. I think I'm going to have to keep all 3 of them. Like, as much as I would like to cut out even just one of them, they're too valuable to even try cutting any because of how different they are. Similar reason to Mario having Bowser and Link having Ganondorf, we have to keep King K. Rool for the Donkey Kong Country characters, because that is literally the only other character in the franchise, and a villain for the hero-villain arc. Luigi is definitely going to stay. I kind of wish that he got a reworked more match Luigi's Mansion better. So, you know, he'll be staying for that reason, because there's so much moveset potential for him. Mario, same deal. I would like for him to stay. but again, I would like him to match Odyssey better. But regardless, he has to stay. He's a 64 staple, and I guess same with Luigi. The Mii fighters are going to stay, but as a reworked character. I would like to see a Mii that, instead of focusing on using the 3 different types of fighters in Smash, rather focus on their own series of games. So instead of being just generic brawler, generic sword fighter, generic gunner, I would like to see the Mii fighters use inspiration from like Wii Party, Wii Sports, Miitopia, Tomodachi Life, like things like that. I'd like to see things from those games in one character using your generic Mii, which I think would be really cool. Palutena, I feel, as cool as she is gonna have to go in favor of keeping Pit. And the only reason why, despite them having very different movesets, Palutena's is kind of made up. So I'm gonna have to cut her for that reason. Ridley is gonna have to stay as the villain for Samus, because Samus has to say, Ridley, if we're gonna have one character, we have to have the other. That's the way I see it. But I feel like if we do keep Samus, I would like to have her be reworked back to the way she was in Brawl, where you could switch back and forth between the two. Maybe not quite the same, but you can switch back and forth between having the armor and not having the armor on the fly versus having to have this whole transformation sequence anytime you use your final smash. Kind of more similar to how Zelda and Sheik used to be. Speaking of Zelda and Sheik, we're bringing them back, but we're going to bring them back as a combined character, just like they used to be back in Brawl and Melee, because I think that would be really cool. Robin is one of the other Fire Emblem characters I can see staying, and that is only because he is the only Fire Emblem character that uses tombs, and I think that would be really fucking cool to keep in Smash, because all the other ones are just a generic sword fighter, and even though he has a sword, he uses magic primarily. Shulk definitely has to stay. I think Shulk would do better if like he had his new style that just got announced. I think that'd be really cool. But it's probably not going to happen. But if Shulk is going to stay, so does Pyra and Mithra. They work so differently. Despite them both being swordies, they are both very unique in what they offer to the Smash Bros. Roster. Byleth is going to be another Fire Emblem character that's going to have to stay. And that's because he's the only Fire Emblem character that uses all of the different classes. He uses a sword, he uses an axe, he uses a lance, he uses a bow. He is the only character from the Fire Emblem franchise in Smash Bros. That does this. He's gonna have to stay. After organizing all the characters, I ultimately decided that this is what it's finally gonna look like. All of these characters in this top row, 100% will be staying in the next game, no questions asked. What do you guys think? Is this roster good, bad? Let me know down in the comments what you guys would do differently. In case you guys are curious, here's what my roster would look like. I also asked my fiance what she would do if she had a chance to change up the roster, so this is what ultimately she decided to do with her roster. And yeah, that is going to be it for the Smash Brothers new game roster. So if you guys enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time.